Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your papers, both your evaluation paper and the paper that you are working on right now. You're arguing a position paper. So the evaluation papers have all been graded, those of you who turned one in. And you should go back and look at my comments on your evaluation paper. Most people did pretty well. Um, so read your individual comments about things like thesis, content, argument, style, grammar. Make sure you're very careful about reading those because a lot of those comments will be able to translate into the next paper and other work that you do. So some of the same things are coming up as I've talked about during the semester. Verb tense discrepancies and comma splices and run-ons and fragments. That's just with grammar. There were some issues with organization, with transitions, with thesis sentences. So just go ahead and look at your individual comments and see. Let me talk about next week as well. So next week, you actually have a rough draft due of paper number 3. And I have been posting some things for paper number 3. I will continue to post things this week in the folder as well as next week. So you have some video lectures, you have some notes, and there are some other information on MLA format and particularly about incorporating research. So be on the lookout for those. I did change the rough draft word count just a little bit because I am not going to have time to read more than 500 words of your rough draft in this set of rough drafts. So you'll notice on the Blackboard calendar, I put a minimum of 500 words and a maximum of 500 words. Now, you're welcome for Wednesday's rough draft. Remember, it's due on the 11th. You're welcome to write as much as you would like, and I'll stop at 500 words. So, in those 500 words, I would like you to have cited at least one source. You don't have to write a works cited page yet, although it would be nice if you put that source in a works cited page so I can see what your works cited page looks like. But you do need to do the in-text citation so I can see if you're doing that correctly. There is one way, though, that I will be able to read your entire rough draft before the final copy is due on November 22nd. And that is if you either come to my office hours, remember, every Monday and Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m., or if you email me and we try to schedule a time together when we can actually be live. I would do something like this with office hours if we were able to meet face to face. And I would have you bring your rough draft to my office hours, or I would look at it online and we would spend some time together talking about it and looking at it. So if you would like me to read more than 500 words of this rough draft, that is what you'll have to do. You'll have to make time to speak with me during the office hours or email me if those office hours absolutely don't work for you, and we'll try to come up with a different time. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me. One other thing you'll notice in next week's folder I've posted is an extra credit assignment. That extra credit will give you 5 points on the final copy of your arguing a position paper. Now remember, this arguing a position paper is worth the most of all 4 of your papers this semester because it does require research. That extra credit has to do with the Toulmin model. I've given you very explicit instructions on the paper. There are 2 parts to it. So carefully read the comments and the instructions and the directions and then turn it in. It is due on the 15th. That is the same day that peer reviews are due. And we are going to do peer reviews again for this paper. And I don't have the peer review box up. You actually don't get to see the peer review box until I open it for you. And that will be a few days before the 15th. So probably the 11th or the 12th is when you'll see the peer review box. So I think that's all concerning the next couple of weeks. I realize that there's a lot due and there's a lot coming up, especially with a rough draft, and you're also doing research. But the final copy, remember, is not due until the 22nd. That is the Sunday before Thanksgiving week. So you should really be thinking about the paper now. You should have read chapter 13. You should be continuing to read the assignments that I have on the calendar that is in the lessons page on Blackboard. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me by email. But I do look forward to seeing your rough drafts of 500 words on the 11th. If they're longer than that, I will stop reading, but you will need to come to my office hours, and that's the time when I'll spend with you together reading them and commenting on the rest of your paper. One more thing. You can't get an extra 10 points on your paper. That is, if you choose to get tutoring services, like some of you have done, that will be 5 points. And you don't need to do the extra credit unless you just want to. If you do the extra credit and you get tutoring, then I'll probably drop another low daily grade. I've already dropped one for most people, but I could do that if you choose to do both things. But the only amount of extra points I'm going to give on the final copy of your arguing position paper is 5. So doing the Toulmin model, I think, would be very helpful because it's basically an outline of how you're going to prove your case. Remember, you're arguing your certain position. You're creating a claim, and you're finding reasons and evidence to support that claim. You're backing the warrant that connects each reason and claim if necessary. And you're providing rebuttal. So in thinking about all of that, even before the final paper is due, I think the exercise would be extremely helpful. And again, provide you sort of a structure or organizational guideline or outline to create and to work on for your paper. So anyway, I think that's all. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.